Hello, am I audible loud and clear? Okay, thank you, Siley. Okay, so today we will start with our Unit 2 mechanism for harmonious employee relations. And in this unit, we will going to learn workers' participation in management and collective bargaining. Okay, so we will start one by one. Okay, so industrial relations involve, or else industrial relations is also known as employee relations. So it involves the body of work concerned with maintaining employer-employee relations that contribute to satisfactory, productive, motivation, and moral. Essentially, industrial relation is concerned with preventing and resolving issues involving individuals which arise out of or affect work situations. Also, it concerns the relationship of employees with the organization and with each other and includes the process of developing, implementing, administrating, and analyzing the employer employee relationship, managing employee performance, and also resolving workplace conflicts or disputes. Okay, so collective bargaining is one of the most important activities to improve industrial relation in organization and maintaining healthy employee relations in an organization is a prerequisite for organizational success. So the strong employee relations are required for high productivity and human satisfaction. Internal employee relations comprise the human resource management activities associated with the movement of employees within the organization. These activities include promotion, transfer, demotion, resignation, discharge, layoff, and retirement. It means Uh, participation refers to involvement of individuals or group of individual for common purpose. It will be effective only if there is interaction among individuals or groups. So, for workers, participation means sharing in decision making power with management as co partner, and worker looks upon it as a tool of gaining equal control over decision making process within the organization. And for management, participation means joint uh, consultation before decision making. It looks upon participation as a tool for securing a better overall performance of the organization. So, the concept of workers' participation in management or participative management is based on human relations approach to management which brought about new set of values of labor and management. So it is considered as a mechanism where workers have a say in the decision making process of the enterprise, and workers' participation is management in an essential uh, ingredient of industrial democracy. So this is about workers' participation in management. So we will see on the screen definitions for of workers participation in management. So by Davis, workers participation in management is a mental and emotional involvement of a person in a group situation which encourages him to contribute to goals and share responsibilities in them. So, this is the definition of workers' participation in management. So, moving to the next slide, evolution of and implementation of workers' participation in management. So, the workers' participation in management is a constitutional commitment in India. Article 43A of the Constitution. So, it provides the state shall take steps by suitable legislation or in any other way to secure the participation of workers in the management of undertakings, establishments, or other organizations engagement in any industry. So this evaluation have some phases like before independence period, after independence period. Okay. So, the origin of the concept of workers' participation in management can be tracked back to the writings of Fabian Socialist, headed by Sidney Webb, who highlighted the economy and social disorders of industrialized developing countries and stressed the need for unity and cooperation among partners and production. So the concept received further impulse from the origin of growth of political democracy in many parts of the world. So it came to be believed that the political democracy could not survive unless economic and industrial democracy were also achieved. So many writers advocates that just as a people should have the right to choose their government, so the workers to should have the right to influence the managerial decision. If not, the right to came to be collectively the right to choose the management. So the many writers in the field of the management emphasize the human side of enterprise and came to be collectively designed as the uh, behavioralist. So in India, Mahatma Gandhi mooted the idea of workers' participation in management through his concept of tutorship. So it was during the days of the First World War that the concept found its first practical application, faced by the twin problems of maintaining industrial peace and improving productivity. So the government in many countries such as Germany, Great Britain, and France uh, is pursued managements to establish joint committees for resolving these problems through consultation. In the United Kingdom, they recommend a Wheatley Committee, a well-knit three-tier consultative system came into being. So it consisted of workers' committee at the plant level, district councils, and at the district level, and the joint industrial council at the industrial level. However, with the cessation of hostilities in 1918 and the onset of economic depression in 1921, the idea of joint consultation received a setback. The interest of the working class now shifted towards nationalization and centralized planning because they were considered to be the most appropriate remedies for economic stagnation and unemployment. So, the interest in joint consultation was again revived during the Second World War. The post war period also proved favorable for the growth of this idea. Many countries, like such as Federal Republic of Germany, France, Belgium, Bulgaria, passed laws to put their wartime consultative bodies on the permanent footing with the objective of exiting the task of reconstruction of their war ravaged economies. So, in some countries, such as Denmark, Sweden, Norway, etc., agreements were signed between the apex organizations of workers and employers to receive consultative bodies. The idea gripped many colonial countries also, so which on the gaining independence impatiently to increase their productivity. Okay, so workers' participation in management was first introduced in Britain during the First World War, or the Great War as it was known then. There was an urgent need for increasing production to meet the war effort. The war required greater production of industrial goods for the armed force. The government appointed a committee headed by a Lord Wesley, an expert on industrial and labor issues, to examine the matter of increasing production. He concluded extensive studies and had discussion with various people connected with industry and labor. He recommended that management must consult labor on issues relating to production. So this would lead to great involvement and commitment of labor in promoting industrial production. He suggested that factories and other workplaces should form works committees comprising equal representatives from both sides to to dive to devise means to increase productivity through workers' participation. So Weasley's suggestions were implemented by the government, and works committees were set up in all the factories. Soon, Britain witnessed a rapid increase in production. Workers' participation in management therefore had scored a strong point. These works committees continued till the war was over. After the war, production became normal as there was no need for stocking industrial goods. Management immediately disbanded the workers' committees, which were successful when there was a need to increase production. In other words, management did not think it necessary to consult labor on issues that were defined as uh, a prerogative of the management. It seemed that the workers were used by management in order to achieve its short term goals. So, after the works committees were disbanded, industrial unrest increased and the trade union movement grew stronger. However, there was no talk of consultation with the workers, nor was there any move of institutional recognition of employees' participation. So, the next major step was taken after the Second World War, which was much more expensive extensive than the earlier war, as almost all nations were involved in some way or the other. The war caused havoc to the lives of people and also led to the questioning of certain traditional beliefs. The second stage of evaluation and implementation of workers' participation in management is after independence period. So workers' committees. The Government of India passed the Industrial Disputes Act 1947, under which workers' committees were established with the view to promote measures for securing and pursuing unity and good relations between the employers and workmen. But these committees failed in the attainment of their avowed objectives. Then the Industrial Policy Resolution of 1956. So it emphasizes the need of associating workers with management in the following words: in a socialist democracy, labor is a planner innate with enthusiasm. There should be joint consultation and workers and techniques etc. be associated progressively in management whenever possible. Enterprises in public sector have to set up an example in this. So the next step in evaluation of WPM is the second 5 year plan. So this plan gave concrete shape to the concept of labor participation in management in India. The Government of India announced its policy as follows: it is necessary in this context that the worker should be made to feel that in his own way he is helping to build a progressive state. The creation of industrial democracy, therefore, is a prerequisite for the establishment of a socialist society. The approach of the Planning Commission was accepted by the government and parliament. Then, Study Group 1956. So, first hand of workers' participation was considered necessary. In 1956, the Government of India decided to send abroad a study group under the chairmanship of Mr. Vishnu Sahai, then the Secretary and Ministry of Labour. The study group carried out on the spot study in UK, Belgium, France, Sweden, Germany, and Yugoslavia. The group submitted its report in the 1957, incorporating concrete suggestions for the implementation of the workers' participation, including the establishment of joint councils in Indian industries. So the next step is labor conferences 1957. The matter was placed in the agenda of the Indian Labour Conference in 1957. It was considered in detail. The conference decided that the workers' participation for the present should be left to the volition of the employers. It was also recommended that the scheme should be initially tried out in 50 undertakings in both the public and private sectors. A subcommittee of the persons was set up to consider detailed regarding the scheme of workers' participation in management. Then the next step in evaluation, or we can say implementation, of workers' participation in management is tripartite seminar 1958. So in February 1958, a tripartite seminar on labor management corporation cooperation was held in which participated employees and employers from undertakings chosen for setting up joint management councils, representatives from the central organization of employers and employees, and of central or state governments. So the seminar arrived at certain conclusions regarding the constitution and functions of the joint management councils and administrative problems connected therewith. Then the next step is a second tripartite seminar 1960. So it was held in March 1960 under the auspices of Union Ministry of Labor to exchange views on labor participation against a modest target to fixed in 1957. So the Joint Management Council were set up only in 24 units, 17 in private sectors and 7 in public sector. So it was agreed that a tripartite committee on the Labor Management Corporation should be set up at the center to review the progress of the scheme from time to time and to sort out difficulties in the functioning of joint management councils. The government of India set up is a special unit in the Ministry of Labor and Employment to deal with all matters connected with this scheme. So, uh, nationalized bank scheme 1970. In 1970, the government of India placed before uh, Parliament a scheme known as nationalized banks. So, nationalized bank scheme. So, in pursuance of its terms to directors were elected on the board of directors to each nationalized commercial bank, representing the employees of bank, one from amongst the clerical and non supervisory cadre, and another from supervisory cadre officer. So this is the nationalized bank scheme. Then scheme of workers participation in industry 1975. On 13th October 1975, government of India announced a scheme of workers participation in industry at shop and floor levels as a part of 20-point program. Okay, so this is a evaluation and implementation of workers' participation in management. So management use some guidelines for effective implementation of workers' participation, like favorable overall climate in the organization. The overall climate should be favorable to workers' participation. There should be an attitude of mutual cooperation, confidence, and respect for each other. Management in participation should be genuinely receptive to the labor's ideas so that the latter can be perceived that their ideas are useful and the sufficient time to participation. So there must be sufficient time to participate before action is required because participation in emergent situations is hardly advisable. Then a relevant subject to participation. The subject of participation must be relevant to the enterprise. It must be concerned something in which both the parties are uh, interested. Otherwise, the parties are likely to become indifferent to the process of participation. Capable workers, the workers' participation or the workers' representatives should have the abilities such as intelligence and knowledge to participate. It is not appropriate to ask workers to participate in technical aspects of the machinery, but they can participate successfully in problems relating to their work. The contributions made by the workers should be worthwhile and should benefit the workers in the long run. It should be in the interest of the management as well. And the effective system of communication. So, uh, there must be the effective system of communication. Both labor's representatives and management's representatives must be able to understand each other and express themselves without any inhibitions. The whole idea, after all, is to be able to speak out one's mind and listen to the counterpart's point of view, and it should not adversely affect the status or authority. So the participation should not adversely affect the status of the authority of the participants. Managers will not participate if their authority is threatened. Workers will hesitate in participating if they think that their status is being advisory affect. In fact, for workers' participation to be effective, both the management and the labor should get rid of their ego problems and share their ideas. The next step in implementation is financial cost of participation. It should always be lesser than the benefits, both economic and non-economic, of participation. One can understand the economic aspect, but as far as the non-economic part is concerned, it will depend on the organizations. Then the participation within the framework of overall policy. So participation should be within the framework of overall policy of the enterprise. One has to agree that every decision has to be in line with the vision and mission statements of the organization. Then adoption of progressive outlook. So employers should adopt a progressive outlook. They should consider the industry as a joint endeavor in which workers have the equal say. Workers should be provided and enlightened about the benefits of their participation in the management. Then, the last step in implementation of workers' participation in management is education and training. The workers and their representatives should be provided education and training in the philosophy and process of participative management. Workers should be made aware of the benefits of participative management. Okay, so this is about uh, implementation of workers' participation in management. So the next point is uh, advantages of workers' participation in management. So benefits of workers' participation in management can be explained with the following points. The first one is higher productivity, greater commitment, better decisions, improved morale and teamwork, reduced industrial unrest, human resource development, use of creativity of workers, restoration of human dignity, and acceptance of change. We will see these all importance or benefits one by one in the next slide. So the first one is higher productivity. So, if there is fullest cooperation between labor and management, the increased productivity is possible. It has been empirically tested that poor labor management relations do not encourage the workers to contribute anything more than the minimum desirable to retain their jobs, but participations of workers in management essentially increases industrial productivity. The second one is greater commitment. Okay, so an important prerequisite for uh, okay, an important prerequisite for following greater individual commitment is the individual's involvement and opportunity to express himself. Participation allows individuals to express themselves at the workplace rather than being absorbed into a complex system of rules, procedures, and systems. If an individual knows that he can express his opinion and ideas, a personal sense of gratification and involvement takes place within him. So, these in turn fortifies his identification with the organization, resulting in greater commitment. The next one is better decisions. So participation enable frank decisions between labor and management. No one man can knows it all deserves viewpoints brought out during the course of discussions cannot be ignored and combined judgment after full consideration with which naturally provide a better decision. Improve morale and teamwork. So if workers are involved to share organization problems and to work towards common solutions, a greater degree of organizational balance occurs because of decreased misunderstanding and individual and group conflicts. Okay, then human resource development. So, participation enhances individual creativity and response to job challenges. Individuals are given an opportunity to direct their initiative and creativity towards the objectives of the group. This facilitates individual growth or human resource development. The next one is use of creativity of workers. So participation gives opportunity to intelligent workers, or we can say talented workers, to demonstrate their knowledge, skills, initiativeness, as well as creativity. So highly capable persons having talent can be easily spotted out and offered due promotion. Participation enables the management to capitalize on the talents and ability of employees. The next one is a restoration of human dignity. So participation can restore a measure of human dignity, motivation, and mutual interest. So these three are the fundamentals of human relations program, or we can say these points are a restoration of human dignity. So the next one is acceptance of change. So uh, whenever management contemplates any changes, participation enables acceptance of change and reduces workers' resistance to change. Normally, any change is considered by workers as a threat to stability and security. It always encounters resistance. Hence, whenever any change in the methods of production, in the management or administration, etc., is to be introduced, participation tends to improve adjustment, and once the workers are taken into confidence, introduction of the change is very smooth. Okay, as well as as well as advantages, there are also some disadvantages of workers' participation in management. So we will see these disadvantages of workers' participation in management in our upcoming lecture or upcoming session.